Hi, I'm Dr. Karen Parker here with your weekly quantum human design energy forecast for the week starting on Monday, June the 30th. So, I want to start off this week by giving us a bigger picture perspective, mostly because the theme of perspective is playing out a lot in the celestial weather. And also, it's going to be a week that it's going to be important for us to kind of keep our eyes on where we're headed so that we don't get too stuck in the challenges of the weeds that we may find ourselves in this week. So let's start with looking at the nodes. Remember that the nodes sort of set a plot outline for the season that we're in astrologically or celestially. So our current south node is highlighting the gate 47. That's the gate of mindset. The north node highlights the gate 22, the gate of surrender. Now, what this sets us up for is really a curriculum, if you will, that is all about building faith. We are being tasked by the nodes, this plot outline. We're being tasked to not get lost in the question how, because that can oftentimes impact our mindset, right? We get discouraged when we can't figure out how. And to instead trust that it's all unfolding for our good. And that when we let go, we surrender, right? That's that North Node theme. And we trust the process that it'll play out exactly as it needs to play out in order for us to fulfill whatever dream it is that we're working on. Now, I want to make sure that we understand the difference between surrender and abdicating, because it is easy when the things that we are reaching towards or the things that we are growing towards feel so big, so overwhelming, or we feel so disempowered by the circumstances that we give up, to recognize that giving up is very different than surrendering. But the nodes are saying, part of what we have to do right now as right and aligned action is to cultivate the mindset of possibility. And number two, become stewards for our dreams, to recognize that the act of daily visualization, the act of giving your dreams some kind of attention is actually an action, right? That it's not just hopes and prayers and dreams, that tending to being a steward, cultivating the energy for your dreams is part of right action. So is resting, by the way, doing the things you need to do to restock, replenish, restore your energy so that you're ready when the timing is right. So much of this 22 energy, this north node, is about timing and trusting in timing and letting the right circumstances, the right transformation, the right energies show up, be at play, get aligned, so that when it's time to take that next right step, and that next right step, we're prepared. We've cultivated the dream, we've cultivated the vision, we've cultivated the energy in every way. And so don't feel like you're not doing enough if while you're doing, all you're doing is visualizing or imagining. That's actually an integral part of the creative process. And when we trust the process, then the process can unfold the way it needs to, and it doesn't have to recalibrate or recorrect itself because we've let go and we've allowed that unfolding. That's our big overarching theme. The other themes that we want to look at, let's look at Uranus highlighting the gate 8. That is the gate of fulfillment. Neptune highlighting the gate 25, the gate of higher purpose, and Pluto highlighting the gate 41, the gate of imagination. These three outer planets set the collective curriculum in place. And so when we are looking at these three energies, what we're seeing is that it is part of the work that we do right now, the right action that we do right now, to imagine the possibilities, to continue to use our power of our imagination to dream into being the next right step. Neptune is reminding us that we are connected to a higher purpose, that we have a higher purpose in our life, and that when we use the power of our imagination to envision that purpose, even if we don't know how, and by the way, I want to remind you that that purpose isn't necessarily a job, okay? That purpose is for you to be the fulfillment of the story of who you are, which is what Uranus is telling us. So these outer planets are saying it's a dream time. We are at the end of something and the beginning of something else, right? We're in this between space where we're having these dramatic sort of cataclysmic endings and these very dramatic kind of cataclysmic beginnings. And when we stand in this in-between space, and it's a very intense space, that we don't always know what to do next, but we can steer what happens next by being connected to ourselves, to our own inner authority, to the power of our own narrative, to our higher purpose, to our bigger understanding, our perspective of the role that we play in the unfolding of the cosmic plan. And we use the power of our imagination to dream something better into place. That's not doing anything. That's actually doing everything we need to do to follow through on the physical stuff that we have to do when the time is right. All right. So hold that theme, right? Because we're in this dream time, this highly creative time, this place of fulfillment, connection to source, connecting to ourself, remembering our right place, reconnecting with our right place, trusting the process. All right. So let's start with the sun earth themes for this week. So we begin the week with the sun highlighting the gate 52 perspective. We're taking a big picture view so that we can begin to recognize where do we need to focus our energy and attention. Grounded in the gate 58, the gate of joy. That's been the energy of all last week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, July the 1st. Can you believe it's July already? July the 1st, we move into the sun highlighting the gate 39, the gate of recalibration, the earth grounding us in the gate 38, the gate of the visionary. Now, these two energies in the shadow can be places where there's fighting, war, conflict, power struggle, and places where there can be provocation and challenge. So I fully expect, given the externalized and internalized polarization that we've been living out for a while now in the collective, story complex, that as we are living this out, that polarization is going to get pushed on and inflamed. And it's going to feel potentially provocative and very combative. I want to tell you this. I don't normally say bad things are going to happen. I'm not saying bad things are going to happen. I'm saying the energy is spicy. And it is energy that's going to create potential for tension. Now, tension is powerful. I also want to remind you that, when you pour a glass of water and you've got that surface tension bubble over the edge of the water glass, right? Because the water and the cohesion of the molecules is sticking together and it's creating this bubble. And when we stick our finger in that bubble, it restores the flow of water down the edge of the glass, right? Tension can restore our natural flow. This is why provocation is actually a really crucial energy, because sometimes we have to provoke or tease, kind of like allergy testing, right? Tease a response out to see where do we stand, to gauge not only internally where do we stand, but where do we collectively stand. And so sometimes that provocation is about pointing out to ourselves and to each other, not blaming, not criticizing, but pointing out where are we out of alignment with our faith and our abundance. And so even though this energy can feel hard and heavy sometimes, it's actually really, really important, because what's happening in this week's energy is the curtains being pulled back and the illusions are being shattered, and we're being shown exactly what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be manipulated, what needs to be moved into place in order for us to be able to sustain our faith and our connection. This is the 39 energy, that recalibration, our connection to our bigger dream, our bigger vision. And so I want you to think about the energy of this week as being profoundly catalytic, profoundly revelatory. And if things start to get under your skin this week, to take a break, to take a break, to take a pause, to step back and to ask yourself, what's being revealed to me right now? In particular, what about my own abundance consciousness is being shown to me in this situation? Because it's pushing on me, it's triggering me, it's provoking me, because it's showing me, I'm being shown where I'm out of alignment with my faith, where I'm letting the mundane, or I'm letting my own fear get activated because of a situation. And so use these energies this week as things come to a head, potentially. Use these energies to check in with yourself and ask yourself, where am I wobbly in my own abundance consciousness? Where am I maybe not actually living an embodied expression of my abundance and my faith? Where have I downsized, compromised, settled for less than what I'm dreaming about because of my lack of consciousness? Big, big, big explorations for this week. And really important explorations bringing us to Friday, which has has some really interesting energy in it. So let's talk about what's happening Friday, July the 4th. On Friday, July the 4th, we've got Uranus and Venus in a conjunction. Both of these two planets are highlighting the gate 8, the gate of fulfillment. Now, again, this is that energy of self-expression, being relentlessly authentic, right? It's that place where our heart is being expressed in its pure energy. We are being and expressing who we are in the world. This really beautiful aligning energy around your story, your narrative, who you are, who you came here to be, that right place that only you can fulfill in the cosmic plan, is getting pushed on by Venus. Now, Venus is a planet that brings to light our values, beauty, truth, right? So Venus is sort of showing us, hey, this is who you are. Go look in the mirror. Go look at how beautiful you are. Go look at how amazing you are. Go look at that once in a lifetime cosmic event that is you. Go be in that space and appreciate it deeply. And Uranus is sort of saying, hey, let's add some twists and turns in the plot outline. We're going to maybe challenge you a little bit. We might kind of pull the rug out from under you. You might get a lesson or two because we're learning this week, right? We're being recalibrated this week. You might have external circumstances that are going to potentially challenge that connection with your authentic self, that might make you think, oh, I need to compromise. I need to settle. I need to be less than I am. That's the first way that might show up for you this Friday, that your own sense of self and your own connection to your own magnificence, that right, unique, and powerful place, might get challenged. It also might get reborn. It also might, through that challenge, because like I said, we're getting challenged this week a lot, that through these challenges, these provocations, we're actually forging forward with not less of a connection to ourselves, but a deeper connection to ourselves, with a greater possibility that these outer disruptions can give us more and more clarity about what are you here to do? Who are you here to be? And do you trust the process? Now, this same energy is being highlighted in a different way by Saturn, right? Saturn is saying, what's your purpose? What's your higher purpose? Why are you here? Neptune, highlighting that gate 25, same theme. What's your purpose? What are you doing? What are you here? So a really big, deep purpose finding week that's really pushing on us to take a step back, really evaluate our narrative. What stories are we telling? What are we dreaming about? That's always the question of the week, right? And where do we need to deepen our connection with our authentic self to become relentless, to become unapologetically authentic, and to not settle for anything less than that? Now, could be that we see some fighting, some tension, that's playing out too. And again, go to the mat for the things that are worth fighting for. Don't go to the mat for the things that are not worth fighting for. So gauge yourself, really check in. If you feel like you need to go to the mat for something, make sure that you're not being reactive, but rather setting good boundaries, taking care of yourself, drawing a big circle around yourself, and staying grounded and centered in your authentic self, and not reacting to old patterns of feeling unsafe or unsupported, but rather being deeply connected to your authentic story. And then, if you feel solid in that, doing the same for others, because that's part of it too, is we're not just fighting for ourselves. This is a collective theme too, with Uranus highlighting this energy. It's not just about us. It's about using the power of who we are individually to help the collective. We are working on shifting and changing the stories in the collective story complex. And so that means we are cracking open the doorways to what we believe is possible, not only for ourselves, but for the world. And so take some time this week to really make sure that you're not settling for less than, you're not compromising on who you are in any way, shape, or form. You came here for a reason. You came here as this beautiful being that only you can be. Only you in this entire cosmos can be the person you are. The world is needing you to be the fulfillment of that. And this week, be prepared for your covers to get pulled, for you to get a little bit challenged, and for you to have to get honest with yourself about any place where you might be settling for less than, or compromising for less than what you deserve. Go big, go home, go big and go for broke and go home big. All right. Take good care of yourselves. Be well. I will talk to you all next week. Bye.